The air inside the arena is heavy, not with excitement, but with a strange, suffocating humidity that seems to cling to the skin of every fan in attendance. It is January 2026, and the modern landscape of WWE has shifted into a polished, high-octane era of production that rarely allows for a moment of genuine silence. Yet, here we are, in the dead center of the night, and the silence is loud. The crowd has been conditioned to expect the dopamine hit of a countdown clock or the immediate screech of pyrotechnics. But the production truck is holding back. There is a match currently in the ring, a grueling stalemate between two of the division's rising stars, but the audience's eyes are drifting. They are looking at the entrance ramp. They are looking at the darkened rafters. There is a collective intuition, a shared subconscious signal that ripples through 40,000 people, telling them that the script is about to be burned. The commentary team, usually so sharp and rhythmic in their banter, has fallen into a lull, repeating phrases about championship implications with a distracted cadence. They know something is off. You can hear it in the slight tremor of Michael Cole's voice, a hesitation that betrays his usually unflappable professionalism. This isn't the manufactured tension of a storyline hook. This is the unease of reality bleeding into the performance. Rumors had been swirling for months, vague whispers on social media, blurred photos of airport arrivals, cryptic posts deleted seconds after being uploaded, but nothing concrete. Nothing that would prepare anyone for the shift in atmospheric pressure that is currently pressing down on the stadium. The lighting rig above the ring flickers, a subtle strobe effect that most would dismiss as a technical glitch. But in 2026, technical glitches don't happen by accident. The fans in the front row, the ones who paid thousands of dollars to be sprayed with the sweat of the performers, are the first to stop cheering. They turn around, their backs to the ring, facing the stage. The wrestlers in the ring sense it too. The lockup breaks. They separate, chests heaving, eyes darting toward the curtain. The referee holds up a hand, freezing the action, not because of a rule violation, but because the instinct of self-preservation has kicked in. The giant LED screens that wrap around the arena balcony go black. Not a fade to black, but a hard cut, as if the power grid has been severed. The sudden darkness swallows the noise, and for 3 agonizing seconds, there is absolutely no sound in the building except for the low hum of the ventilation systems. It is a void, a vacuum. The anticipation that usually thrills a wrestling crowd is curdled into anxiety. People aren't pulling out their phones to record, they are clutching them, waiting. The darkness stretches on, past the point of comfort, past the point of a dramatic pause. It feels like an error. It feels like something has gone wrong. And in that darkness, the uneasy feeling in the pit of 40,000 stomachs begins to coalesce into a singular, terrifying question. Who is coming? The answer isn't going to be a celebration. It's going to be a reckoning. A sound tears through the arena, but it isn't music. It isn't the familiar, catchy hook of a theme song that triggers a Pavlovian pop from the audience. It is a low, distorted frequency, a bass drop so deep it rattles the rib cages of the people in the nosebleed seats. It sounds like machinery failing, like a turbine winding down to a halt. Then, the screen flickers to life, but there are no graphics. There's no logos, no stylized text reading the est. Instead, the massive 8K displays are filled with static, a gray and white snowstorm that harkens back to analog television. The static twitches and warps, forming vague reshapes shapes that look like broken glass. The commentary team is confused. You can hear the hot mics catching their genuine bewilderment. Graves is asking the producer, what is happening? Cole is trying to apologize to the viewers at home for the technical difficulties. This is the brilliance of the moment, the blurring of the line between the show and the collapse of the show. Then, the beat drops. But it's wrong. It's a slowed-down, sludge metal version of the beat that used to signal the arrival of the brightest star in the division. The rhythm is sluggish, dragging, heavy. It doesn't make you want to dance. It makes you want to run. The Watch Me vocal sample is gone, replaced by a looping, chopped audio of a breath-a-sharp intake of air that sounds like someone surfacing from drowning. The lights do not flare up in a kaleidoscope of gold and blue. Instead, a single, harsh white spotlight snaps onto the stage, illuminating a circle of empty floor. The contrast is blinding. The crowd, who would normally be counting down or chanting, is frozen in a state of confused paralysis. They recognize the skeleton of the song, but the flesh has been stripped away. This is a dirge. This is a funeral march for the character they thought they knew. A figure steps into the light. The silhouette is familiar, yet jarringly different. The posture is not the confident, upright strut of the EST. It is a stalk. The shoulders are hunched forward, muscles coiled tight like springs under tension. The gear is not the sparkly rhinestone-studded attire of a superhero. It is matte black, tactical, functional, blending in with the shadows rather than reflecting the light. But the most shocking detail, the detail that causes a ripple of gasps to cascade from the ramp to the rings, the hair, the signature braid, the whip, the weapon, the symbol of her power, is gone. Her hair is loose, wild, and short, framing a face that is devoid of the megawatt smile that once sold millions of t-shirts. Her eyes are fixed on the ring with a predatory intensity that feels unsafe. There is no waving to the fans. There is no skipping. There is only the terrifying efficiency of a woman who has nothing left to lose. The silence in the arena is finally broken, not by a cheer, but by a low, confused murmur that sounds like a hive of bees disturbed. They don't know how to react. They don't know if they are watching a return or an invasion. Bianca Belair walks down the ramp, and the atmosphere in the arena shifts from confusion to a palpable discomfort. Usually, a return is a moment of catharsis, a release of pent-up energy where the fans and the wrestlers share a bond of joy. This is the opposite. This is a wall being built. She walks past the outstretched hands of fans over the barricade, ignoring them completely. She doesn't slap hands. She doesn't even acknowledge their existence. A child in the front row, wearing her old merchandise, reaches out with a replica belt, and Bianca's eyes slide over him as if he were part of the furniture. It's a small moment, but it's devastating. It signals that the relationship has changed. The commentary team has stopped trying to hype the moment and has shifted to a tone of concern. They are talking about her injuries, her time away, the personal demons rumors that the dirt sheets had speculated on. They are framing this not as a triumph, but as a crisis unfolding live on air. She reaches the steel steps and ascends them slowly, every movement deliberate and heavy. There is no springing over the top rope. She steps through the ropes. Entering the ring, where the two previous competitors are still standing, frozen, watching her like prey watching a predator. The referee tries to assert control, stepping forward to ask her intentions. But Bianca simply walks through him. She doesn't shove him. She just occupies the space he was in until he is forced to scramble out of the way. She stands in the center of the ring, and the house lights stay down. The spotlight is the only thing that matters. She looks at the two wrestlers' young, hungry talent who grew up idolizing her. Expression is one of profound disappointment. It's not anger, it's pity. It's the look of a veteran who realizes the war was never worth fighting, and now she has to show the new generation why. The crowd tries to start a chant. EST. EST. It starts in the upper decks, a desperate attempt to bring back the familiar, to force the narrative back into a comfortable shape. Bianca hears it. She tilts her head, listening to the chant, and then she shakes her head. Just once, a slight dismissive motion that kills the chant dead. The rejection stings. The audience realizes they are not part of this. They are witnessing something private that has spilled out into the public. She circles the wrestler on her left, a current champion, and the tension is so high that when the champion flinches, the entire crowd jumps. Bianca doesn't attack immediately. She waits. She lets the fear marinate. She lets the champion realize that the belts, the fame, the followers, none of it protects you from someone who has abandoned the rules of the game. When she finally moves, it is a blur of violence. It isn't a wrestling move. It's a tackle, brutal and unrefined, followed by strikes that look too stiff, too real. The crowd doesn't pop. They gasp. It's uncomfortable to watch. It feels like an assault. The moment the segment ends, the camera doesn't cut to a commercial. Lingers on the destruction in the ring, then follows Bianca as she exits, not up the ramp, but through the crowd, disappearing into the darkness of the exit tunnel. The broadcast cuts to backstage, and the chaos is immediate. This isn't the polished, scripted backstage skits we are used to. The camera is handheld, shaky, following a producer running down the hallway. We hear shouting. We see other wrestlers' main eventers, people who are usually portrayed as fearless pressing themselves against the walls to let her pass. The locker room, usually a place of camaraderie or scripted rivalry, feels like a bomb shelter. The air is thick with the smell of fear and confusion. Bianca walks past the gorilla position, past the frantic executives screaming into headsets, and she looks at none of them. She is an island of cold silence in a sea of panic. The narrative shifts to the reaction of the roster. You see Montez Ford, her husband, standing near a monitor. He isn't celebrating his wife's return. He looks terrified. He reaches out to grab her arm as she passes, a desperate attempt to make contact to find the person he knows inside this shell. Bianca stops. She looks at his hand on her arm, then up at his eyes. She doesn't say a word. She gently, almost clinically, removes his hand from her arm and keeps walking. That single interaction tells the audience more than 10 minutes of exposition ever could. It implies that this darkness isn't just a character quirk. It has bled into her real life. It suggests a fracture in the one bond that fans thought was unbreakable. The internet explodes. Twitter timelines are moving so fast they are unreadable. The question isn't, did you see that? It's, is she okay? The media scrum waiting in the parking lot is the next victim. Usually a returning star would stop, give a few sound bites, maybe drop a catchphrase to trend on social media. 8. Bianca bursts through the double doors, her bag over her shoulder. The reporters swarm her, microphones thrust in her face, asking about the hair, the attitude, the attack. She stops. The cameras flash, blindingly bright in the night air. She looks directly into the lens of the nearest camera, breaking the fourth wall. For a second, you think she's going to cut a promo. You think she's going to explain herself. But she just stares, and the look in her eyes is haunting. It's a look that says, "You did this? You demanded this?" She gets into a waiting black car, alone, and the car speeds off, leaving the press corps standing in stunned silence. The broadcast fades to black, not with a logo or a copyright notice, but with a lingering shot of the empty space she just occupied, leaving the viewer with a hollow feeling in their gut. Why does this moment matter? Why does it stick in the throat long after the video ends? Because it forces us to confront the transaction we make as fans. We demand greatness, demand the EST. We want the fastest, the strongest, the roughest, the toughest. We want our heroes to burn bright so we can warm our hands on their fire. But we rarely ask what happens when the fuel runs out. Bianca Belair's return in 2026 isn't just a wrestling angle. It is a mirror held up to the industry. The loss of the braid is the loss of the gimmick, the shedding of the marketable skin to reveal the scarred human underneath. It is a rejection of the happy-to-be-here era. It is a declaration that the cost of being the best is your own humanity. The lingering question that stays with the viewer is not who will she fight next, or will she win the title? Those are small, plot-driven questions. The real question, the one that makes this script uncomfortably real, is, can she come back from this? Not physically, we know she can wrestle, but spiritually. Can you exist in the machine of WWE without becoming a monster? The silence she brought to the arena wasn't just shock. It was the collective realization that we broke her. We cheered for the flips and the strength feats until she gave everything she had, and when she broke, we just waited for the next person. Now she's back, and she's holding up the bill. The final image of the night isn't Bianca holding a belt. It's a shot from inside the car, a grainy dashboard camera angle. Bianca is looking out the window at the passing city lights. She isn't crying. She isn't angry. She is completely, terrifyingly numb. She touches the back of her neck, where the braid used to be. A phantom limb sensation. The screen fades to black, and a single line of text appears. Not a hashtag, not a WWE logo, but a simple question that hangs in the darkness. Was it worth it? This isn't just a return. It's an elegy for the girl with the braid, and the birth of something far more dangerous, a woman who knows her worth and knows that we can't afford to pay it.